Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of rare coin collecting and uncovering 8 rare pennies collectors are snatching up before they vanish from circulation. These aren't just old copper cents you might overlook, they're hidden treasures with stories, mint marks, and errors that can turn ordinary pocket change into serious value. If you've ever wondered which coins could be worth more than their face value, this breakdown is for you. Stick around as we reveal the top pennies you need to know about in 2025. Thought, could this be worth more than a cent? Stick around, because this breakdown will help you spot the ones collectors want right now. Let's talk about the 1947 wheat penny. It may not be the rarest penny out there, but it's definitely one that gets attention from collectors, especially if it's in great condition or has something special about it. The 1947 penny is part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series, which was made from 1909 to 1958. On the front, you'll see Abraham Lincoln, just like on modern pennies. On the back, you'll see 2 wheat stalks, which is why these are called wheat pennies. This design was used for almost 50 years and is one of the most collected U.S. coin types. The 1947 penny came out just a couple of years after World War II, so it's also part of U.S. history from a very important time. Now let's get into what makes the 1947 wheat penny something collectors look for. First, let's talk about where it was made. In 1947, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at 3 different mints. No mint mark equals Philadelphia. D. Mint mark equals Denver. S. Mint mark equals San Francisco. You can check your penny by looking under the date. If there's a small letter, it tells you where it came from. No letter means it was made in Philadelphia. Out of the 3, none are super rare, but some collectors still try to collect all 3 versions from each year. That's part of what makes coins like the 1947 penny fun to hunt for. It's like completing a puzzle. Now, what about value? Most 1947 wheat pennies you find in pocket change or old jars are probably in circulated condition, which means they've been used and show somewhere. In this condition, they're usually worth between 3 and 10 cents. Still not bad for a penny, right? But if you find one that's in really nice condition, with sharp details and no major scratches, it can be worth more. Coins in uncirculated condition, that means they were never used, can go for $1 to $5, sometimes more depending on the color and quality of the coin. There are 3 colors coin collectors use when grading copper pennies like this. Brown, most common, not very shiny. Red-brown, a mix of original color and aged brown. Red, looks like it just came from the mint, super shiny. If you find a 1947 penny that's red and uncirculated, it could be worth $10 to $20 or more, depending on the market and condition. Now let's talk about something really fun, errors. Sometimes, when coins are made at the mint, mistakes happen. And in the world of coin collecting, these mistakes can be valuable. While the 1947 penny doesn't have any major famous errors like the 1955 doubled die, it's still possible to find. Off-center strikes, where the design is not centered on the coin. Die cracks, raised lines or bumps from a cracked die. Double strikes, where the coin is struck twice by mistake. These kinds of errors are random and can make your 1947 penny worth a lot more, depending on how big or noticeable the mistake is. So, if you find a 1947 penny that looks a little weird, maybe the letters are doubled, or the image looks off, it might be worth having it checked out. Sometimes, even small errors can bring in $50, $100, or more to the right buyer. The story behind the coin also matters. The 1947 wheat penny was made just 2 years after World War II ended. America was changing fast, and millions of coins were made to support the growing economy. That means the 1947 penny is a small piece of history from an important time. Even though it's common, collectors still like it because it represents the post-war era, and it's part of a series that ended in 1958. Some people collect wheat pennies for fun, others do it as an investment. And the good news is, you don't need a lot of money to start. Coins like the 1947 wheat penny are a great way to begin a collection without spending a ton of cash. You can find these coins in old piggy banks, at garage sales, in family coin jars, or online. So, should you keep your 1947 wheat penny? Yes, especially if it's in good shape. While it may not be worth hundreds of dollars on its own, it still holds more value than a regular penny. And if you're starting a collection or teaching kids about money and history, it's a perfect coin to use. Plus, if you find a rare error or an uncirculated version, it could be worth much more. Always check for sharp details, mint mark under the date, any strange or unusual features, shiny red color, for uncirculated coins. If you think your penny might be special, you can check online price guides or take it to a coin shop for a second opinion. Let's start by talking about the 1950 D penny. This coin was minted in Denver in 1950 and is part of the famous Wheat Penny series, which was produced from 1909 to 1958. The Wheat Penny is popular among collectors because of its classic design and because some years and mint marks are very rare. The 1950 D is not the rarest wheat penny, but certain versions of it, especially those with specific errors or in excellent condition, are highly sought after. One reason the 1950 D penny is special is because of its condition. Most pennies in circulation get worn down over time from being used in everyday transactions. But if you find a 1950 D penny that looks almost new, with shiny copper and clear details, it could be worth a lot more than face value. Uncirculated or mint condition 1950 D pennies can fetch hundreds of dollars, sometimes even more if graded by professional coin experts. Now, here's a cool fact about the 1950 D penny. Some of them have mint errors that make them even more valuable. Errors happen when something goes wrong during the coin-making process. It could be a doubled die, where the design is stamped twice by mistake, creating a doubled image. Or it could be a missing mint mark or a coin struck off-center. Collectors love these mistakes because they're rare and unique. It's like having a coin that's one of a kind. If you look closely at your pennies, you might spot small differences that could mean you have a valuable error coin. For example, check the mint mark, which on a 1950 D penny is a small D below the year. If the mint mark looks strange or doubled, that could be a sign of an error. Or, if the coin's date looks blurry or stamped twice, that's another clue. But even if your 1950 D penny looks normal, don't write it off. Condition is king when it comes to value. A clean, shiny 1950 D penny can be worth a lot, especially if it's graded by a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. These companies inspect the coin's condition, authenticity, and any special features, then give it a grade from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. So where can you find these rare pennies? Believe it or not, the best places are still in circulation and in old coin collections. Many people don't check their change carefully or throw away pennies without knowing their value. Banks, coin rolls, and even loose change at home are great places to start looking. If you collect pennies regularly, especially wheat pennies, you'll increase your chances of finding something rare. Here are some quick tips for spotting valuable pennies like the 1950 D. Always check the date and mint mark. The year and where the coin was minted can make a huge difference. Look closely at the condition. Is it shiny or worn? Sharp details add value. Use a magnifying glass to spot small errors like doubled dies or mint mark mistakes. Handle coins carefully, don't clean them, because cleaning can lower their value. Keep your pennies stored safely in coin holders or albums to protect their condition. Now, the 1950 D penny is just one of many rare pennies collectors look for. Let's quickly talk about some other pennies you should watch out for, especially if you're searching through old change. The 1909 SVDB penny is famous because it was the first Lincoln cent ever made, and only a small number were minted with the designer's initials, VDB, on the back. These pennies can be worth thousands. The 1943 copper penny is another big find. Most pennies made in 1943 were steel because copper was needed for World War II. But a few copper pennies were accidentally made that year and they can be worth tens of thousands. Another well-known one is the 1955 Doubled Die penny, which shows strong doubling on the front lettering. It's one of the most popular errors among collectors and can be very valuable. What all these pennies have in common is they are rare because of either a limited number made, a unique mistake, or excellent condition. Collectors today are paying top dollar for these pennies, sometimes thousands of dollars. The market for rare coins is strong, and many people are realizing that pennies can be more than just spare change, they can be real investments. If you want to get started with coin collecting or just want to check your pennies, remember this: it only takes a few minutes to look over your coins carefully, but that small effort might uncover a valuable treasure. And don't worry if you don't find anything right away. The fun is in the hunt, learning about history, spotting unique details, and imagining who else might have held your penny over the years. Before we finish, here are a few final tips to protect your coin's value. Store your coins in a cool, dry place to prevent damage. Use acid-free holders or plastic flips to keep them safe. Avoid touching coins with your fingers, instead, hold them by the edges. If you find a coin you think is valuable, consider getting it graded by a professional service. This can increase its value when you sell or trade it. Join online coin communities or visit coin shows to learn more and connect with other collectors. Remember, the 1950 penny and the other rare pennies we talked about are more than just coins, they're pieces of history that tell stories about the past. Finding one can be exciting and rewarding, and maybe even life-changing. The 1941 penny came out just before the United States entered World War II, which makes it a coin from a very important time in American history. A lot was happening in the world, and these coins are a small piece of that past. They were made with 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives them that rich, brownish-red color collectors love. In 1941, the U.S. Mint made pennies in 3 locations: Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, just says 1941. Denver Mint, small d under the date. San Francisco Mint, small s under the date. So if you have a 1941 penny, look under the year to see if there's a D or an S. If there's nothing, it came from Philadelphia, which made the most that year, over 887 million coins. Denver made about 128 million, and San Francisco made 92 million. That means none of these versions are super rare, but that doesn't mean they're not worth anything. Their value depends on a few things, like condition, color, and if there are any mint errors. So let's talk about value. If your 1941 wheat penny has been used a lot, meaning it's circulated, it's probably worth around 5 to 15 cents. That's more than face value, but not a fortune. Still, it's not bad for a coin that's over 80 years old. But if your coin is in really good condition, the value goes up. Collectors like coins that have sharp details. You can see all the lines in Lincoln's coat and the wheat stalks. A nice shine or luster. No big scratches or stains. If your 1941 penny looks great and has never been used, it's called uncirculated. It could be worth $1 to $5 or more. The best-looking coins, with a red color and perfect details, can be worth $10 to $20, especially if they've been graded by a coin expert. Speaking of color, copper coins like the 1941 penny come in 3 color grades. Brown, most common, looks darker. Red-brown, in between, some shine left. Red, shiny like a new penny, very valuable if uncirculated. If you have a bright red 1941 penny that's in mint condition, hold on to it. It could be a nice addition to your collection or even sell for a higher price. Now, here's where things get exciting. Let's talk about errors. While the 1941 penny isn't famous for a huge number of mint errors, errors can still happen, and they can make the coin more valuable. Here are a few error types to look out for. Off-center strike. Part of the design is missing because it wasn't struck in the center. Double die. The image or letters look like they've been printed twice. Die cracks. Raised lines across the coin caused by a cracked die. Repunched mint mark. The D or S mint mark was punched more than once, and both can be seen. These errors are rare, but if you spot one, it could mean your 1941 penny is worth $50, $100, or even more, depending on how clear and big the error is. So always check your coins carefully. Sometimes the mistakes are small, but collectors love these unusual coins. Let's talk a bit about history. In 1941, the world was at war, and the US would soon join in after the attack on Pearl Harbor in December. The country was still recovering from the Great Depression, and coins like the 1941 penny were used by millions of Americans during that time. Even though over 1 billion pennies were made that year, holding a 1941 wheat penny is like holding a piece of history. It's a small, simple reminder of what life was like back then: no smartphones, no internet, just people working hard and using coins like these to buy everyday things. That's one reason collectors love coins, not just for the money, but for the stories they tell. So, should you keep your 1941 wheat penny? Absolutely. Even if it's only worth a few cents, it's still a cool coin to have. And if you find one in great condition, or with an error, it might be worth much more. These coins are also great if you're just starting a coin collection. They're easy to find, not too expensive, and fun to collect by mint mark. You can try to collect all three types: 1941, no mint mark; 1941D, 1941S. It's a great way to begin learning about coin collecting without spending a lot of money. Now let's turn to the 1953D. That's the Denver version of the 1953 wheat cent. In 1953, the mintages were also large, so many of these are common. But again, rare versions exist. For a 1953D penny in circulated condition, you'll generally see values of around 15 cents or perhaps a few dollars if it's in uncirculated condition. Cointrackers.com, Cointrackers says a 1953D in mint state, in a suitable grade, might reach $34.34 plus depending on quality. Cointrackers.com. These are some of the rarities in the 1953D line that collectors chase: repunched mint mark, RPM similar to 1952, sometimes the D was repunched. This means you might see a faint doubling or overlap in the D. One specific example is catalogued, and some of those have fetched significant prices. One reportedly sold for $3,525 in 2020. CGA. Broken die/BIE error. In 1953, one error known as BIE, a break between letters B and E in Liberty, is known. This is caused by a die crack or break. A coin with this error in a good grade might fetch a premium. CGA. Off-center strikes. As with any coin, when the blank wasn't centered under the die, part of the design is missing. More dramatic off-center variants are more valuable. Bullion shark. Die cracks or cuts, small lines or metal anomalies from die damage can add incremental value. Bullion shark. One interesting note, the 1953 D/D or D/D, double D on die, variety is sometimes mentioned in collector literature. This means the D mint mark might show evidence of a doubling or second impression. That can be a specialized variety. CGA. Inspect the mint mark carefully, especially for doubling or an odd look to the D. Review the letters Liberty and In God We Trust for anomalies like breaks or missing bits. For BIE error, look between B and E. Check for off-center strikes, especially ones where a large portion of one side is blank. Examine the wheat stalks detail on the reverse side. Are they sharp and fully struck? Also check surface condition, color, luster. As always, well-preserved coins command higher value. If you find one that seems exceptional, professional grading/certification is the way to go to maximize value and buyer trust. Why these years matter, and why rarity survives. You might ask, with such large mintages, why are some of these pennies so valuable? Here's why: survival of condition. Even though many were minted, very few survive in superb, uncirculated condition. Wear, corrosion, handling, cleaning, all degrade value. Errors are rare events. Most coins are struck perfectly. Those with errors, misstrikes, die breaks, RPMs, are a tiny fraction. Collector demand. Demand for complete sets or key varieties means some coins are more sought after, pushing prices up. Market speculation and auction results. High grades sell to collectors willing to pay big money for, the best example. Grading/authentication. A coin graded and encapsulated by a trusted service gives buyers confidence, which adds value. So a coin that checks errors plus high grade plus rarity can jump in value by orders of magnitude. How to search for these rare pennies. You don't need to be a millionaire to start hunting. Here are places and strategies where you might find a 1952D or 1953D with special traits. Change jars/piggy banks. Old pennies stored without use may avoid wear or damage. Coin rolls from banks. Old rolls might contain less touched specimens. Estate sales, garage sales, old coin collections. You might come across old coin lots with hidden treasures. Online auctions, coin shows, numismatic dealers. These are also good for buying or comparing rare examples. Coin fairs and local collectors clubs. You can get opinions, examine coins in person, and trade. When you search, always carry a magnifying glass/loupe, 10 times. Good lighting. Gloves, fingerprints damage coins. A reference book or catalog or digital, for known varieties and mint mark charts. Stay patient. Collecting is partly luck, partly diligence. Protecting and preserving value. Once you find a coin that looks special, take care, don't clean the coin. Harsh cleaning, scrubbing, chemicals, ruins numismatic value. Handle by the edges, never touch the face surfaces. Store properly, use flips, capsules, inert holders, avoid PVC materials. Get it graded/authenticated, trusted grading helps prove condition and originality. Document provenance/details, keep notes of where found, condition, photos. That helps if you sell later. Insurance/secure storage, for very valuable coins, consider safe, vault, or insured storage. What serious collectors pay, recent auction examples and market behavior. To show how deep this market goes, here are some known auction sales and market behavior. A 1952D graded MS67 has fetched $9,775 in 2007. Bullion Shark. Other strong 1952D MS67 Plus examples have also sold for thousands. Coleccionistasdemonedas.com, for the 1953D, the RPM, repunched mint mark, variety has been claimed in auction circles, one reportedly sold for $3,525. CGA. While the 1946 wheat penny isn't particularly rare, it does have some interesting features that make it appealing to collectors. First, it's worth noting that the wheat penny series was made with copper until 1982, so these coins have a certain appeal due to their metal composition, which many collectors enjoy. The 1946 penny was made just after World War II ended, and the U.S. Mint was working hard to produce coins to meet the increased demand in post-war America. Mintage and condition. The 1946 penny was minted in 3 locations, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The most common version of this penny is the 1946 with no mint mark, which was struck in Philadelphia. It's followed by the 1946D, minted in Denver, and 1946S, minted in San Francisco. Among these, the 1946, Philadelphia, version is by far the most common. In terms of mintage numbers, the 1946 penny is not rare. The total mintage for the year was over 1 billion pennies, so they're still easy to find in circulation. However, despite the high mintage, the coin still holds interest for collectors, especially those who specialize in wheat pennies or Lincoln cent collections. Value and condition. If you find a 1946 wheat penny, the value will depend heavily on its condition. In circulated condition, most 1946 pennies are worth just a few cents over face value, around 10 to 25 cents. These are coins that have been used in daily transactions and show signs of wear, such as scratches, discoloration, or flattening. However, if you come across a 1946 penny that is in excellent or uncirculated condition, its value can increase significantly. In extremely fine condition, a 1946 penny can be worth $1 to $5. Coins that have been carefully preserved and show no signs of wear at all, known as uncirculated coins, can fetch anywhere from $5 to $10 depending on the grade. The highest grade coins, those in MS-65 or better condition, can reach values of $10 to $20 or more, but these are relatively rare to find in everyday circulation. Grading is a system used by collectors and professionals to assess a coin's condition, and higher grade coins are much more valuable because they are harder to come by. Special features and errors. While the 1946 wheat penny doesn't have as many notable errors as some other years, collectors do look out for specific variations and mistakes that could make a coin more valuable. For example, die cracks or off-center strikes might occur, which are minor errors that make the coin more interesting to collectors. In terms of rarer errors, the 1946 penny isn't known for any major, highly valuable mistakes like some other years, but that doesn't mean it's impossible to find an error or variation. If you're searching through your pocket change and happen to find a 1946 penny with an unusual feature, like doubling in the date or letters, it could be worth more than a typical coin from the same year. The 1946 wheat penny was made right after the end of World War II, a time when the U.S. economy was shifting from wartime production to peacetime. The minting of these pennies reflects the efforts to provide coins for the growing economy and the return to regular coin production after the war. The wheat design, which was in use from 1909 to 1958, is especially significant to collectors because it was the first design to feature Abraham Lincoln's image on the front. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, and it was a monumental shift in how U.S. currency depicted historical figures. In 1959, just 13 years after the 1946 penny, the wheat design was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial design, which marked the end of an era for this iconic coin. Because of that transition, the 1946 penny is part of the final years of the wheat design series, which adds to its historical appeal. Collecting the 1946 wheat penny. If you're looking to start collecting wheat pennies, the 1946 version is a great place to begin. It's easy to find, relatively inexpensive, and gives you a solid start in completing a collection of pennies from the wheat series. Most collectors try to find a full set of wheat pennies, which includes every year from 1909 to 1958. While some years are rarer than others, the 1946 penny is a more affordable and common coin that can be found in most collections. Collectors also enjoy seeking out higher-grade coins, as finding one that is uncirculated or in excellent condition can be more rewarding. Even though the 1946 wheat penny might not be the most valuable coin, it holds an important place in the history of U.S. coinage, especially for those who focus on Lincoln cents or coins from the mid-20th century. First, the 1952 D. The D means it was minted in Denver. That year, among the three mints, Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, Denver struck 746,130,000 pennies. Silverrecyclers.com, because that's a large number, most 1952 D pennies you find are quite common. But that doesn't mean there aren't rare examples. A regular 1952 D penny, in circulated condition, usually is worth only a few cents more than face value, maybe 10 to 20 cents or so. If it's uncirculated, in good, mint state, it might be worth a few dollars. Hobbysprout.com. But here's where things get exciting. An exceptional specimen, for example, one graded MS67, a very high grade, has sold for around $9,775 at auction. Bullion Shark, other high-grade examples, MS67 Plus, have brought several $1,000s as well. Coleccionistasdemonedas.com, so the top tier is where the value lives. These are the features that elevate a 1952 D from just a penny to a collector's prize. Repunched mint mark, D/S variety. In this variety, a faint S might be visible under or overlapping the D mint mark. Some of these are catalogued, for example, FS511. Pennyverse.info, this variety can demand premiums, especially in mid to high uncirculated grades. Pennyverse.info, die breaks, cuts, or major die damage. Parts of a die can break during use, leaving raised lines, raised lumps of metal, or missing portions of the design. If you find a 1952 D with a dramatic die break, collectors may pay extra. Pennyverse.info, off-center strikes. If the coin blank, planchet, shifts during striking, part of the design might be cut off or missing. A more severe off-center can give a coin significant value above normal. Cointrackers.com. Multiple strikes/double strikes. The die may hit the coin more than once slightly offset, leaving a ghosted second image. That can add value if it's clear and attractive. Varieties of misplacement or abnormal structures, things like displaced minting, where the mint mark or design is unusually shifted, or variants cataloged by specialist collectors. A coin with one or more of these traits in excellent condition can be a real prize. How to examine your 1952D. Use a magnifying glass or loupe, 10 times, to check under the D for signs of an S or doubling. Look at wheat stalks on the back. If they are fully sharp and crisp in detail, that's a good sign. Check the edges. No heavy wear or flattened areas is better. Review surfaces for die breaks or raised metal. Check color. Reddish, if original color, is often more collectible than brown. If you believe you have one that's exceptional, getting it graded by a professional service, like PCGS or NGC, helps prove authenticity and condition, which can boost value.